What's up, guys? Welcome to the King Closers Formula. I am the King Closer, RJ Bates III. Today, for the 429th straight day, we're bringing you value here on this YouTube channel. Now, today's topic is something that is just, it's been a consistent theme over the past couple months where I've been seeing people ask questions about changing lead sources, changing strategies. Things aren't working. So how do you know when to pivot? How do you know when to really change your strategy? And the more I thought about this, the more I realized that we're just not asking ourselves the right questions. We're not really deciphering why things aren't working. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and how you can actually track what's happening inside of your business to make the correct decisions. Now, that being said, we are live, so we got to say hi to some people. Angel, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. It's the only comment we got so far. Hopefully people join us at some point. Maybe the topic was so on point today that we don't have anybody watching. They're like, hey, RJ's directly talking about me. I'm not going to tune in because I know he's talking about me. What's up, Tori? TU Tori now. Mr. Patrick Quinn, what's up? I think that's Anias. Could be Aeneas. Anias. I'm going to go Anias. What's up, man? What's up, Kente? Good to see you on this Tuesday. Kente, do you ever watch any of my other videos? You comment on all the lives. I do appreciate you for that. Pamela, what's going on? The comments are coming now, Angel. What's up, Elizabeth from North Carolina? Good to see you. TU Tory sounds fire. I agree. TU Tory sounds good, man. All right, so how do you know when to pivot and change up your strategy? We are doing a challenge inside of Titanium University. We just rolled out the teams yesterday. We're calling it March Madness. I know, super creative. And we broke up all the participants that signed up into 16 different teams. So the Sweet 16. We put them into teams of 6 or 7 people, depending upon how many people signed up. And they're going to compete. And inside this competition, we gave them certain metrics that we want them tracking. And I'm going to go through those, and then I'm going to explain why we pick those particular metrics and how you should be tracking the exact same metrics and KPIs inside of your business to know whether or not you need to make a change and what that change looks like. And realistically, it should probably be more of a skill set change than a system or a strategy. All right. So here are the metrics, the KPIs that we are going to be tracking inside of TU's March Madness competition. New conversations, whether that's with a motivated seller or a cash buyer. Offers made. So that's just a verbal offer made. Contracts sent. Contracts signed. Walkthrough. So a walkthrough on dispositions. Investors' offers received. So dispositions, you're receiving an offer. Contracts assigned, and then closed and funded deals. Now, the reason why we feel these are the most important metrics to be tracking is because if you look at this, you can almost reverse engineer and see where the hole in the ship is if you're not succeeding. If you're not getting all the way to the most important metric, which is closed and funded, then we're able to reverse engineer and go back and see where did we really have a problem and why did we have a problem. So let's talk about that. The first thing that's vitally important is that you're having new conversations with both motivated sellers and in buyers every single day. Okay. You have to have fresh leads coming in. Now let's talk about one of the most frequently asked questions over the past, well, let's say 3-4 months, ever since I made that beautiful video of how to go from 0 to $1 million just using Speed to Leads, Coupon Club, Prop Stream, Investor Lift, and Easy REI closings. It was a great video. It was a banger. You guys loved it, but it's opened up a lot of questions, specifically with buying the leads inside of Speed to Leads Coupon Club. One of the most frequently asked questions is, how old of a lead can I purchase? How many orders is too many on a lead before I should purchase it? These are very frequently asked repeatedly. And here's my response to that. If you really are asking that question, then this must be day one, or you're not consistently buying leads every single day. Because if you're buying leads every single day, then as the leads come in, you're purchasing the ones that you want to purchase, and the ones that don't hit your criteria, you're letting those slide by. You wouldn't need to go back days and days on end. So this is where we start seeing how many new conversations are you having every day. Because you need to be having new leads come in, which leads to new conversations. And then you're following up with all of your called no answers and having new conversations. Now, if I were to buy a lead today and I don't hear from that seller never picks up the phone until April, guess what's going to happen? On April 1st, I'm going to have a new conversation because that's going to be the first time that I talk to that seller. So it's a new conversation. But guess what's still going to happen? I'm still going to buy a lead on that day. Still going to refresh my queue to get it up to a certain amount of leads that I want to have. So I'm always going to be having new conversations. And this is the compound effect of always having your lead queue flowing. So every single day you should have new leads coming in, which leads to new conversations. This is why it's one of those metrics that we want to track to make sure that you're actually running a business that has a consistent lead flow. Second thing, offers. Offers is very important because what we'll see is when people start using the closer's formula, there's certain areas in which they feel like I've given them an excuse to not really do their job. One of those is the saying, embrace no. They hear me say, embrace no, be the buyer, be sold, always be walking away from the deal and have the seller, pull you back in. Well, that's accurate and it's true. And we want you doing that to a certain degree. One of the most common types of sellers that we're going to talk to, though, is where the price is incorrect. And what we see is too many closers, too many wholesalers out there walking away and embracing no too quickly and not identifying the true motivation that the seller has. And because of that, they're lacking on the amount of offers that they're making in a day. Now, you guys know that I don't really want you just making a low ball offer. I don't believe in that. I don't want that whatsoever. But you still need to be having enough of a conversation to where you can explain your offer, reverse engineer it, educate the seller, agree on an after repair value, agree on the amount of rehab needed, holding costs, closing costs never changes, profit doesn't change. Here's where I need to be. That would be considered an offer. We need to be making offers on as many of these leads as possible. The only time that we're not going to make an offer on a property is when there's no motivation. That's where we would walk away. Even if it's in the least common seller bucket, which is price is right and there's no motivation, you can still carry on the conversation and really try to pull out where's the motivation to sell this property for a discount. That is what we are trying to find out during those early phone conversations. The next one, contracts sent. Now, I only want to send contracts when there is a verbal agreement between myself and the seller. I want to know that we have agreed to this before I just blindly send you that contract. Otherwise, it's just an offer made. So contract sent is a very valuable KPI because this deciphers how successful am I actually on the phones? Am I actually getting to the point where they are verbally committing to me to the offer amount that I am willing to give on this property? So we need to track that. The next thing is how many contracts get signed. This is vitally important to understand because really what I want to know is, are we getting 70% of the contract sent, signed? We are, then we're probably pretty successful at what we're doing during acquisitions. Now, the rest of the KPIs inside of the March Madness are around disposition. So I'm going to pause right there through going through those KPIs, and let's just talk about the ones that we just went over. New conversations, offers, contract sent, contract signed. This is during acquisitions. So when we have questions about should I potentially be changing lead source or a strategy in regards to acquisitions and acquiring deals, I would want to know, how many new conversations have you had in the past 30 days? How many offers have you made? How many contracts have you sent? And how many contracts have you gotten signed? If I know that, then I can look at it and I can see, do we truly have a lead generation problem, or do we potentially have more of a skill set problem inside of our acquisitions? More often than not, that's the case. Here's an easy way to just eliminate this altogether. We suggest that you use speed to lead, lead Zolo, and property leads. Now, the vast majority of you hear that and choose one. A lot of you have chosen speed to lead, Coupon Club. Why? Because it's affordable. It's a budget product, right? $200 a month plus $29 a lead. I completely understand why you're making the decision to use speed to lead. However, I do think that if you were going to take this serious and you're going to run a business, you need to have multiple options. You need to have, like we do, speed to lead, property leads, and lead Zolo. We have 3 different lead sources. The reason why this is important is because now I can look at my business and I can say, how much money did we spend on lead Zolo this month? Okay, so we spent $20,000 on lead Zolo. How many new conversations did we have off of the $20,000 that was invested? How many offers? How many contracts did we send? And how many contracts got signed? Let's look at the exact same numbers for property leads and speed to lead and split test this. Now, instead of me looking at my feelings, I actually have KPIs and metrics to compare between the different lead sources. Here's what I'll tell you. The reason why I've consistently been talking about those 3 lead sources is because the KPIs are almost always identical across the board. They have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. And I understand why you guys made the decision to not work with a specific company and work with another one. But the reason why I suggest these 3 is because consistently, property leads is the newest one, right? We're approaching a 1-year anniversary of using property leads, but lead Zolo has been since 2022 and speed to lead has been with us since 2021. Consistently, we have seen our KPIs hit certain metrics where we know that we don't need to go look elsewhere. When the numbers start coming down, what we can identify is it wasn't a lead generation problem. It was a problem with the people sitting in the seats on the floors, picking up the phone and calling those sellers. Maybe it was a follow-up issue. Maybe it was an embracing no too quickly. And how do we know? I don't know what just happened there. I just froze for a second. I apologize about that. Just so you guys know, if something were to happen in my live stream today, it looks like a Mad Max movie here in Fort Worth, Texas today. We had tornadoes this morning. Woke up to tornado sirens at 4:30 in the morning. There apparently was tornadoes that touched down. We have like 40, 50 mile an hour winds consistently. I've never seen the lake look the way that it looks today. So I believe that the little outage right there, it's because of the storm that's going on outside. So I apologize if I lose you guys. I'll make it up to you. There's nothing I can do about it. I can literally hear it right now. It sounds like a freaking hurricane outside. So it's just insanity. And then the wind and the dust and everything, it looks crazy. So I apologize if I lose you guys. But going back to what I was talking about there, with the lead sources and our acquisitions team, we can go in and we can see how many new conversations did you have, and then were we making the correct amount of offers? Let's start there, right? Did we make enough offers? And then from that, how many offers actually got to the point where they got accepted, and then we were sending that contract, and how many of those contracts got signed? Now, I always like to start just like when I do numbers on a deal, where we start with like the after repair value and then we reverse engineer. That's pretty much how I like to do this on acquisitions. So I'll look at it and say, how many contracts did we get signed? Okay, let's just say it's 10. All right, great. We got 10 signed contracts. How many contracts did we send out there? 15. Okay, great. We're at that 66%. Sounds about right. Okay, so we still got 5 to follow up on. We got 10 signed. We sent 15 out there. How many offers did we make to send those 15 contracts? Okay, was it 30 or was it 20 or was it 50? Because if it's 50, that's a problem, right? We're not doing something right. So this is where I want to reverse engineer that and really understand, how are we getting to those numbers? And this is where we identify whether or not an acquisitions person is performing to the metrics that we have established as an organization, or whether or not there's truly an issue going on. Now, moving outside of just acquisitions, let's talk about what happens once that contract is signed, right? A lot of times people will say they have a dispositions problem. They'll get a contract signed and then they're not able to move it. And they think it's because they got it in a location that they weren't prepared for, right? This is the fear around going virtual, right? I went and got a signed contract in Atlanta, Georgia, but I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I didn't have any buyers in Atlanta, Georgia. We have software and technology available to us now that identifies who the buyers are in all of the locations in the United States. So dispositions really shouldn't be an issue. The only thing that should keep you from really being able to handle dispositions is 1, skill set, or 2, time. A lot of times it's time, right? In order to do dispo, I have to take time away from lead generation and acquisitions and the follow-up. Understood. That being said, when a deal doesn't move, we have a tendency to want to blame it on dispositions, either the person or the tool that we were using. What we have noticed is more often than not, it has nothing to do with investor lift or investor base or deal speed or whatever software it is that you're using to dispo that deal. It's a comping and underwriting issue, or it's a skill set with actual dispositions. Dispositions is not putting together an email campaign and a text campaign and sending that out. It's actually picking up the phone, having conversations, and you have to have sales skills to be able to move a deal. Otherwise, every deal would just be blasted out on Investor Lift and it would sell. That's not the case. Now, Investor Lift is adding AI that's making that a little bit more intuitive and better and allowing us to get higher assignment fees, but it still takes skill set. And that's where we're really seeing a lot of the issues with newer wholesalers. It's across the board. They're not taking accountability for their own actions. They're wanting to hold a system accountable. It's Speed of Leads' fault. It's Investor Lift's fault. So I'm going to pivot. Now I'm going to go use property leads. And then they get the same results. Of course you do. I'm telling you, you're going to get the same results. We've been doing this for too long. There's too much consistent data that we have here at Titanium to prove to you that it doesn't matter. If we are telling you to use something, then it's because it works for us and it's pretty similar results. Otherwise, I'm very transparent about it and say, no, you can get better results. I've been very open and honest about coupon clubs. Should only be 1 out of 25 gets to closing. Well, the reason why is because they're older leads. There's more competition. It's a cheaper product. If you get an exclusive lead from property leads, it should be 1 out of 10 leads to a close. These are the KPIs. These are the metrics that we are tracking to make actual decisions. So when should you actually make a pivot and change? Well, let's look at it from a macro and a micro level. So a macro level would be more along the lines of like, when do I really need to shift my whole strategy, right? Change my hedgehog concept, do something completely different inside of my business because this isn't working. That to me would have to be something that is on a much larger scale after a significant period of time. So for example, for us, this is when we approached this was in 2020. We had virtually wholesaled all the way up till 2017. So roughly 3 years. Then we started buying flips, rentals, accumulating properties, Airbnbs, doing all these different types of things. And we got ourselves in trouble. Like our overhead was astronomical and we weren't profitable as a business anymore. That is when we sat down and we said, okay, we're stretched too thin. We're not great at anything. Quite frankly, we weren't even good at anything. So that's when we had to shift and focus. Here's one of the things that I see people do more often than not. When they're not profitable in their business, instead of shifting to a focus, they want to shift to more. They want to shift to more strategies, more exits. Let's look at doing novations. Let's look at doing flips. Let's look at buying these sub 2. Let's do more inside of our business instead of narrowing it down and saying, let's just get great at one thing. This is why I'm so bullheaded about talking about the hedgehog concept, because I was there. And I know what got us out of the issues that we were in. And it was extreme focus. So if you're struggling and on a macro level, you need to make a pivot or you need to change. It needs to be based off of centering down to one core focus, not broadening out and adding additional exits. That might be a short-term solution, but in the long run, there's going to be a sacrifice made one way or another. You only have so much bandwidth as a business operator and as a business in general. Don't end up making that the death blow to your business. Now let's look on a micro level. When should I change a lead source or a system, right? I get asked simple questions. We always talk about the lead sources, but maybe it's a comping software. When should I change from PropStream to Privy to Batch or disposition software? Hey, RJ, when should I use InvestorLift and when should I use InvestorBase? Now, these should be based off of specific KPIs. And what I would like you to look at is over the last 90 days. If you can look at it in 90-day brackets, then you can see, 270 days back, these were our metrics using speed to lead. Then 180 days back, here's our metrics with speed to lead. And then in the last 90 days, there was a significant decrease. If you still had the same amount of new conversations and offers made and contracts sent, but there was a discrepancy there in contracts signed or deals that ended up being closed and funded, that's maybe where you need to look at saying, all right, maybe there's an issue here with the system, the speed to lead. Maybe now we're still doing our job. More often than not, what we see is that there was an issue internally, though, and it wasn't the system. That's what I want you guys avoiding. There's always a learning curve when you make that shift. When you go from speed to lead Zolo, why do we see people go into the vault and ask about the bidding system for Lead Zolo? That's the learning curve. It slows you down. Time equals money. Time kills all deals. Well, guess what? As you're sitting there and trying to figure out how to use Lead Zolo's bidding system, leads are coming in. People are selling their houses to someone else. And you made the decision to change that system and slow yourself down. That immediately hinders your progress as a business owner. Anytime you add something new to your business and you make a pivot and a change, there is a learning curve. It slows you down. You're not an expert at that system yet. You're brand new to it. So for me, it's always, we are very slow to make any sort of change inside of our business prior to doing it. And quite frankly, there's always a split test. I would never cut off a lead source to add a new one prior to split testing it at the exact same time. So if I wasn't happy with speed to lead and I was thinking about going to property leads or lead solo, that's fine. But I'm going to do both at simultaneous before I make a decision. I'm pulling the plug on this one and I'm going all in on the new one. For one, there's going to be that learning curve. And for two, we have no idea if it's actually going to be better for us or not. We always think that we're right as a business owner. We always think that we're going to make the correct decision. That's not always the case. So we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up to where we don't cripple our business because we made a decision. And a lot of times those decisions are made off of emotions and feelings and not facts. All right. Let me see here what we got in the questions. Caesar says, RJ, you the man. Thank you for all the value you provide, brother. Got to go make some money and hunt for some point. Absolutely, brother. Go close you some deals. Let's see here. Wes said, how do you explain to the seller if you have multiple people view the property? How many people on average view the property before you had the deal closed? Well, Wes, this depends on the occupancy of the property, right? If the property is vacant, this clearly isn't really an issue because you can just put a lockbox on there and they can go see it. If it's tenant occupied, a little bit more of an issue. But a lot of times we'll just directly connect with the tenant and then we can just have, quite frankly, as many as we want. But more often than not, we're vetting out our buyers pretty heavily before they go want the property. We're understanding that they know the numbers. They've seen pictures of the property, that they are a known buyer. We know how they're funding the deal. And then we're going to let them go see it. So it's not a ton. We're not having like mass showings. I would say more often than not, it's just 2 to 3 showings before we get the deal closed. And that's quite a few. I mean, a lot of times we try to make it one. Ryan said, bunch of weenies always complain about lead quality. I used to do signs every Friday and stickers on gas pumps for weeks just to get one goal. Facts. I remember those days. Rita says, I'm having an issue with a seller allowing us to put a lockbox. How do we go about explaining to the seller that we need a lockbox to make this a smooth transaction? Well, Rita, this, again, would depend on the occupancy. A lot of times, owner-occupied properties clearly give us an issue with wanting to put a lockbox on the property. And so then that's when we have to schedule the showings based around the owner's availability. That's a very common thing. That's why, to me, owner-occupied properties are some of my least favorite types of deals to do because the owner can get in the way and cause issues. Now, if it's a tenant-occupied property, I can also see that because they don't want the liability of something happening to the tenant's belongings. But if it's vacant, I would just kind of force the issue. Like, listen, this is going to make it way easier. We're going to need to do multiple walkthroughs. Just allow this to take place, please. If they don't kill the deal over it. Just navigate as best as you possibly can. All right, let's see. Angel says, I must call a minimum of 100 PPL leads every single day. A lot of people fill out the form and won't pick up the phone. That's a fact. Listen, calling leads is basically the core of our business. Calling leads, calling sellers, it's our responsibility. It's what we're supposed to do. That's why I'm always blown away when I see people go into the vault and they say, hey, I'm frustrated with speed of lead. I've been doing the coupon club and it's not working out. It's like, how many leads have you bought? And it's like, I bought, 20. It's like, dude, that's a good start to day one. Like, we got to get going, baby. We got to make a commitment. That's why I asked you guys, make a 90-day commitment. You've got to be able to invest in your business and take this serious, or it's not gonna run like a business. It's just not. And this conversation about when should we pivot and change strategies, I see it far too often where people will tell me, RJ, I love how you simplified the business. Thank you so much for simplifying it. because prior to us joining TU or listening to what you were saying, we were doing all of these different things. And that's where I get this niche for being like in 2020, 2021, I was the texting guy. Now I'm known as the PPL guy. It's like, no, it's just, I'm trying to simplify this down and saying, if you could just focus on this one thing and get great at it, then you can succeed wildly. You don't need all of these different lead generation tactics to where you're all constantly concerned about the KPIs for each different one. You can just focus on this one, which all we need is a seller to raise their hand and say, I have a property I want to sell. That's really what we're seeking. How do you recommend I get leads when I don't have the overhead to pay for them? Wes, I mean, that's an issue. I'm not going to sugarcoat this and lie to you. I mean, if you don't have money to invest in your business, that's a problem. It would be a problem for any other business. I mean, it's like if you were to try to go open up a store and you're like, well, how do I run my store if I don't have the ability to go buy inventory? Well, that's a problem, right? You don't have a store. It's the same thing here. I mean, essentially, our inventory is the leads that we are able to generate inside of our business. So you have a couple thousand, but you're hesitant to blow through it and not make a profit. I mean, listen, man, this is a constant fear. It's a constant fear throughout the industry. I'll be honest with you, Wes. I mean, if that's a fear that you have, then you're going to have to either get to the point where you're willing to make that sacrifice and at least give it a shot, or also come to grips with that fear kept you from ever wanting to chase the reality that you wanted for yourself. I mean, there's ways that you can go generate leads for free. I mean, you could do FSBOs and you could do direct to agent, and there's all kinds of different stuff that you could do. But talk to anyone that's done that for a significant period of time, and they'll tell you it's getting your teeth kicked in and it's hard to gain traction. So at some point in time, you have to say, people like myself are saying this is the best way for you to do this business. I mean, with a couple of grand, I mean, let's look at that. So say you had $2,000, you take the $200 right off the top for a coupon club. So now you have $1,800. You divide that by 29, you get 62 leads. You should get 2 to 3 deals out of that if you know how to do the closers formula. You know how to comp and underwrite, and you're going to be consistent. That's a fact. Juan says, hey, RJ, I listen to you all the time. One day I will join TU. Excited to have you, brother. What do you think of predictive AI leads and iSpeed? Some people have said they are not good. I was told they are not as good as the other leads. So, one, I've been told the same thing. I get told a lot of things about PBL. I've been told a lot of things about many things that I've talked about over the years. I got told batch data wasn't as good as other people's data when we were texting. I got told that their texting software wasn't as good as launch control when we were texting. I've been told that speed of lead was too expensive when they came out. Okay. It was too expensive. People couldn't use it. All right. Even though we made plenty of money and we showed people how to do it. And then Lead Zolo came out, and they were cheaper than speed of lead to begin with. And so everyone then said, well, the problem with Lead Zolo is that in order to get that cheap price, you got to be nationwide. And it's too expensive for it to be local. And then Speed of Lead came out with the Coupon Club, and then they added the AI predictive cold call leads. And now people say, well, they're not as good as SEO or as the Facebook leads or any of the Google PPC. All right, I hear you. The problem is that I never look at that shit when I buy my leads. I just go in there and I look at the motivation. I look at the condition of the property, and I look at the location, and I buy the lead. and then I call it and I close it. And then when I hear this, and then I go into my Speed Elite account. We did this in a Titanium University implementation call because someone said this. And I said, you know what? I don't know. Let's go look. So I opened up my own personal Speed Elite account. And the previous 6 predictive AI leads that I had purchased, I closed 2 of them. They're closed and funded now. They're funded. This isn't like I closed it and we couldn't dispo it or whatnot. No, money's in my account. So I look at that and I laugh and I go, what makes it not good? This is what this whole topic is. Is it the lead's not good, or is it that the person who bought the lead doesn't know how to close and they want to blame it on Speed to Lead? They want this to be the laydown. They want it to be the seller bucket of right price, highly motivated, boom, done. Well, that's not the case. I've said this over and over and over again. If you buy 100 leads, you're probably going to get one of those. The other 99, you got to figure out which ones you can close, and the great ones will find a way to close 9 of those that are incorrect price but motivated. That's what the great ones will do. And the ones that suck will say, that lead is not good. I'll tell you right now, you can give me those leads all day, every day. Oh, wait. That's what I do. It's what we do. Here, we're buying those leads all day, every day. In fact, we just closed the deal yesterday from Predictive AI, Speed to Lead in California. One of the toughest markets in the United States. Guess what? His price was incorrect to begin with. It was a 30-minute close and then a renegotiation on top of that. But we still found a way. So I don't believe in that. Kinte says, I'm just a prospect. It's inspiring to see others in TU post you on their account as a vouch, knowing that I'll take my throne as the prince of TU. Brother, we got so many people inside TU now that are winning. It's incredible. It's incredible to see. I don't necessarily want to take all the credit for any particular people, because there have been people that have come in that were already running successful businesses, and we just added on a few little tools to their tool belt, right? But listen, man, we've got people that are making multiple 6 figures a month now. We've got people getting the first ever deals that are coming in on the new classes. It was a fantastic journey so far, and just being a part of TU. What part of Cali? No, Tori, this is closed and funded, brother. This was up in Redwood. Was it Redwood? Redding. That's what it was. Redding, California. I actually closed it a while ago. It took a really long time because the end buyer ended up wanting to do an ovation on it. So we converted it over to an ovation. And then our arrangement was he paid us on the back end. So we actually ended up not getting our assignment fee until he closed it on the backside as an ovation. Andrew says, had a predictive AI lead in Coupon Club, vacant land, buy for $35, sell, or $35,000, sell for $65,000. I'm listing myself, so a decent spread. I mean, exactly, Andrew, and that's what I'm talking about. Those leads exist. The predictive AI has no bearing on whether or not it's a good lead or not. It's just whether or not they want to sell it. If they say they don't want to sell, it's just an instant refund. So again, this is why I don't get all wrapped up in the whole, is it a good lead or is it not a good lead? And you know what's hilarious? I know based off of how much money we make affiliate-wise between Speed Lead, Property Leads, and Lead Zolo, that there's quite a few people that are also using Lead Zolo and Property Leads. I have more people ask me questions about Speed to Lead than I do Lead Zolo and Property Leads. Why do you guys think that is? Speed to Lead has the budget item. There's a saying out there, right? You have a client that you offer them a $500 product. they're going to be more of a headache than the client that you offer a $50,000 product to. The $50,000 product client will say, what's your wiring instructions? And why are you the $50,000? The $500 product client will say, where's my contract? What am I going to get for it? What's the lifespan of this? What's your refund policy? Do you make any guarantees? That's the problem with Coupon Club. It's a great item, and it works for so many people. But the budget aspect of it, who needs that? The people who don't have money. People who don't have money are the problem clients. That's why there's so many questions. I mean, you could just go in the vault and you'll see there's hardly any posts about property leads. Like zero. Coupon Club, hundreds of posts because of the clientele, the mindset of that clientele. Here's the funny part about it. I make just as much money off property leads as I do speed of lead on every single month. What does that tell you? RJ, off the top of your head, how much people come to sell their houses daily? Like how many people sell their houses daily? I don't know. I mean, it's an astronomical number. More than we ever need to worry about. I believe that's what you're asking. Do I ever desire to do apartment investing? I've been involved in multiple apartment investments. Kente, when I talk about 2018 and 2019 and us getting off of our hedgehog concept and chasing the shiny objects, that was one of them. One of them. We've pretty much done everything that you could possibly do when it comes to real estate investing. And for me, it was just it's not what I'm passionate about. It's not what I necessarily want to do long term. And it's not what I want to do. Have I tried Tyson's new software? Tyson Smith, he has a new software. What did he white label? No, I haven't tried it. I don't search for unicorns, brother. They don't exist. I got what I need over here. I don't even know what he could possibly have a new software for. But no, we're good. We're just rocking and rolling. Have I ever done gator lending? You mean have I ever just loaned someone money? Yes, I've loaned someone money. Have I ever loaned someone money for earnest money? No. I think that's one of the silliest things ever. I can't believe. Kudos to Pace, man. He made something a thing that I didn't know. I mean, transactional funding, I probably wouldn't do that either. The return's just too low for me. But yes, have we done lending before? Yes. Is it something that I want to continue doing or something that I'm passionate about? No. Do we do creative deals such as seller finance or subject to? Have you assigned any seller finance or subject to deals? Yes, and yes. So seller finance, actually, funny enough, yesterday, a deal that we did a seller finance wrap just refinanced. So we're actually getting paid out of a note that we created probably 6 years ago. So that's pretty cool. Payday out of the blue. Subject to, we've done many subject twos. We've been doing sub two since 2016. We still own multiple properties that we purchased sub two. Have I ever assigned any seller finance and sub two deals? Many deals. The acquisition strategy is determined by the exit strategy. So whatever the exit strategy is, that then determines what we can do on the acquisition side. And then from there, if it's a good fit for the end buyer, then that's when we would move it to them. What's my conversion rate for speed to lead? Depends on the type of speed to lead that we're purchasing. If it's an exclusive, it's probably going to be closer to 1 out of 7 or 1 out of 8. Over the course of time on the first dial, for me personally, it'd probably be more of 1 out of 10 just on first dial on exclusive leads. And then on Coupon Club, it'd be closer to that 1 out of 25. because there's going to be times when the property is already sold, or it's really difficult to get a hold of them because the length of the lifespan of that lead. But that's also, I mean, dude, you could go back and you could watch. I've got probably 20, 30, 40 videos of me calling speed to lead live, and that's pretty consistently been done live. I mean, every single time I've ever gone live calling speed to lead, I've gotten a contract, and you can literally go in there and count the dials. I spoke to Steve from Property Leads. Good dude. I made him aware of who I am. So once I turn 18 this December, I'm locked in with the game. I already know all there's to know besides with the math calculator. There you go, buddy. Yeah, I don't know Steve from Property Leads. He's probably just one of the customer reps. When using speed to lead with national outreach, do you need to find a local title company, or do you use the national title company they refer on their site? I've never even noticed that they refer I'm going to go look this up. I've never seen that they refer a national title company on their site. I'm going to go see if I can find this real quick. So the answer is no. We go find our own title company. Title companies. So they recommend Cypress Ascendant Services. We've never used them. Investor friendly, innovation friendly, creative finance friendly. I'm not a big fan of national title companies. Normally they have a tendency to move slower on their title report stuff. And like at this point, we've built out relationships with all the different title companies that we use across the country. So no, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know that there was a tab over here for title companies. I'm now seeing all kinds of stuff. Boots on the ground, offers, messages. I've never even seen this. Brother, we come in. When I say I am focused, is we buy leads. I go to 2 tabs. Lead feed and my CRM. That was it. I would have never even looked at this if you hadn't said that. That's hilarious. When are we getting more speed to lead live calls? I enjoy eating while watching that pure entertainment. I plan on going live pretty soon, not just with speed to lead, but also with property leads, lead Zolo, maybe something else as well. I plan on doing that very soon, Kente. It's been too long. Can you explain how to do a purchase on a home that you want to live in using the seller's existing mortgage? I'd like to see if I can get a home for my family using someone else's mortgage. Angel, yeah, we can do that. I mean, it's just simple sub 2. But that I would say, Angel, let's do that inside of an implementation call for sure. We can show you how to do that for sure. You guys say you're raw too for hanging up on disrespectful. That shows you're not greedy and in it just for the money. Appreciate that. Don't use Cypress Ascendant. Use closed title instead. The old people at Cypress left because they weren't great. All right, very good. I knew InvestorLift had a tab for title companies, but again, InvestorLift, I believe, just has it where you can go in there and add your own title companies, and we're supposed to be like ranking them and like grading them and stuff. Again, we have our markets PDF that we've given out where it has a lot of title companies on there. Some of them change and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, man, the finding title companies has never really been like an objection for me. It's just like, listen, we're going to figure it out. And then we build a relationship. If they were good, great. We'll use them again. If they suck, we move on. Am I buying properties in Wichita Falls? No, I'm just wholesaling in Wichita Falls. But I would say if you were to go into the vault and post a deal in Wichita Falls, that would probably move pretty quickly. That's an area where there's quite a few buyers inside of our free Facebook group. I have got to talk to Robert Winsley, but he's the hardest person in the world to get a hold of. I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you got to talk to him about? I don't know. I mean, I just go on InvestorLift's account and just say, hey, Robert, I've got this idea or whatever it is you need to talk to him about. Call me. Good question, Angel. That has been a goal of mine as well. Buy my first home, sub 2 or self finance. Would love that in TU, RJ, for sure. there are some things that you need to make sure that we get taken care of before you guys do that. But yeah, it's definitely something that we could talk about. And how did you partner with Easy REI Closing, and what was one mastermind and or mentorship that scaled your business to the 100x? Why did I partner with them? It's an affiliate relationship. We're not partners. They own that 100%. I have zero equity in that whatsoever. They just, if you were to go to titaniumtc.com and hire them and use them, then they give me a little piece of the pie off of like the first transaction that you do with them or something. That's just affiliate marketing. What's the Sorry, I got distracted by the next comment. What's one mastermind? Well, I was in Investor Fuel with Mike Hambright. That was pretty good. But to be honest with you, Kente, I've gotten more out of just relationships than I have masterminds. And that's probably just my own personality. But there's definitely no mentorship that I've ever had or one mastermind that scaled my business. It's from the partnerships and the relationships I've been able to create really by doing content. Content's been the best thing that I've ever done because it's what enabled me to build relationships and choose who I wanted to build a relationship with. What is the free Facebook group? Charles, it is the Titanium Vault. It's called the Vault. But if you go right there to that link, you can request to join it. 100%. I have tons of work to do before I get to that point. Got to close some deals consistently. Absolutely. Tyler, your homework's done. And we're doing a social media masterclass inside of TU. It's been fun. We're doing it all week. We're 2 days in. Excited to see some of these guys. If you guys have not already, go subscribe to Tyler Osborne's channel, man. Dude's pumping out videos all the time, going live, talking to sellers. TU member from the first class. So make sure to go subscribe to his channel. Does Cassie have a calculator for sub 2 or seller finance? I want to include that into my hedgehog concept to maximize lead flow closing. Have you seen any issues with assigning those? Yeah, there's issues with assigning them for sure. There's issues that can come along with specifically assigning sub 2s. Can it be done? Yes. Have we done it? Yes. What I would say, Matt, is do we have that on our calculator? No. And I don't think we would ever do that outside of a specific level of person inside of TU. We don't want that going out to the masses. I just think, Matt, at the end of the day, I hear where you're coming from. My question would be, how many deals have you done cash? If you were to tell me that you've done, 95 deals cash, then I would tell you, okay, you probably left 5 deals on the table by not being able to do creative. If you're like just getting started, then it's like, all right, let's do the baby steps. Let's do the easy ones. The ones that are just straight cash. There's no questions about it. There's no long-term liability. There's no next level, complications with the paperwork or anything like that. Yeah. See, you're just getting started. You're perfect. You've got 2 and you're just 3 weeks in. Stay focused. Don't chase anything. Turn that 2 into 10 and then turn that 10 into 20 and let's go then. You know what I'm talking about? I bought 380 Coupon Club leads and have 5 deals under contract now. What are a few things you do in your sales process that can help improve conversions to 1 out of 25 instead of 1 out of 75? So, Nick, great question. I love the fact that you have bought 380 because that shows a level of commitment. The question I would ask you is how long, what was the time frame it took you to purchase those 380? And then also realize how quickly you could turn that 1 out of 75 into 1 out of 25 long-term follow-up. If you have, so you bought 380, you have 500 contracts, so you have 375 less, assuming there's a significant amount of those. So you started January 15th. So what is that? That was 16, well, like 50 days. Some of those are probably over the past like week or so. So what you'll start seeing is hopefully inside of March, some of those late Januaries and early Februaries, you start making connections that you haven't been able to. And then as the weeks progress, you start seeing where instead of you only closing deals on, March 3rd, the week of March 3rd from leads that you bought this week, you want to see that you're closing deals from this week, last week, and the week before, maybe even one from January or February, right? And then you see that progression where the compound effect really comes in. And that's where I say the 1 out of 25 should ultimately be where you're sitting after like 6 months. That's the goal, is where, boom, you'll start seeing that 5 suddenly becomes 15 with like the follow-up process. But you have to be consistently following up with those. I would hope with 380, you have a CRM, you have some sort of drip sequence. But then also whoever is doing acquisitions needs to be consistently calling those on different time frames and voicemails every single time, text messages being sent out. Tyler even brought up the other day that he's been doing emails, and he's gotten several contracts from doing the email follow-ups. So relentlessly following up and converting that. The other thing is I would also be curious of how many conversations did we have on that where we embraced no maybe too quickly and we didn't identify the motivation and really nail that down, because that, Nick, is where the vast majority of deals end up getting lost and not closed, is that the closer didn't identify that motivation well enough. I would also just say just the fact that you bought 380 leads, man, I'd love to have you inside of TU. That's just right there. I already can see the level of commitment. You got 5 deals under contract. I'd love to be able to like do seller call reviews with you, help you on the comping on that, and really try to unlock whatever you got going on in there. In what states is wholesaling against the law? Well, there's regulations in like Oregon, South Carolina, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, a couple other ones, but they're all different. There's all workarounds and ways that you can get around doing it. But I wouldn't say it's like against the law. It's like there's maybe a regulation there that says you can't do X, right? So like Nebraska has a regulation that's, if you're not a licensed realtor, then you can't market your equitable interest. So if I were to go find a licensed realtor in Nebraska and I do my packet and I go to blast it on Investor Lift, as long as I have the name on there as a licensed realtor and I have their number, then I'm good, right? Stuff like that. Let's see here. By the time I hit TU, I'm guessing the price will rise. Facts. Yeah, the Kente, the deal with TU is the price is always going to go up. Every single class, it's always gone up. Started off at 5,000 per member, and now we're up to 6,800. That's for the 12th class, and the 13th class will be higher, and it's never going to be discounted. How many deals do you close a month? Let me ask you, Mondo. Why do you care about how many deals I close a month? I'm going to answer the question. I get asked this question a lot. And it's funny to me because no one ever asked me how much profit I make. That's why I asked that. I used to get wrapped up in this. Mondo, this has been a constant changing number over the past several years. It used to be we would consistently do 50 to 60 a month. One point in time, we got all the way up to where we were at like 96 in 1 month. 96 properties under contract at one point in time. And I remember we had a war board right here and thinking to myself, this is miserable. That's 96 people's homes, lives in our hands. And it's crazy how much impact we have on other people's lives. And if there's one person on there that we make a mistake, we miss a closing date, or we didn't identify that they were in foreclosure and we terminate for whatever reason, we could be significantly impacting people's lives. Dispositions it was stressful. We had a large team. We scaled the team down, the amount of deals came down. But the other thing that happened is more freedom and honestly more money in my pocket. And so what we've identified now is we're in a really sweet spot. We've been here since late 2023, really. Probably mid 2023, about when we did the second 50-day challenge. We got to where the team that we have now, almost everybody's been here. The only person that's new inside the office is Jordan, who's the videographer. Everyone else has been here for 2+ years. So we have a very cohesive group. And so now what we've done is we've lowered the volume down on the amount of per deals that we do per month. And we're more profitable than we were. And so on a wholesale side, we're typically somewhere in the range of $150,000 to $200,000 a month, and that's net, right? And so that's a great place to be, because I'm very happy with that. Got that one. What's my biggest close? I think it was like just south of 300,000. I've been hounding a speed to lead for 3 weeks and no response, and she finally texted back with pics. Persistence pays off. Exactly. It happens, Pamela. I've been talking with Justin from your team. Killer. Plan to join TU. Wants to close my first. Dude, Justin has been with us since he was 19. Love that kid. Don't tell him I said that, though. When are you doing another 5-day challenge? I did a 50-day challenge. I don't know about 5-day. I don't know when I'll do another one. I was asking because I'm kind of doing it by myself, and I was wondering how much will I need to average for just one person, because I know it can be stressful having so many on contract. Yeah, Mondo, I would just aim to do one contract a week. I mean, if you were making $15,000 a week, you would be batshit happy, right? Acquire property, dispo property, boom, 15,000. Acquire property, dispo property, 15,000. You make 500 grand this year. Be living the life. Justice closed deals in 37 states. Yep. What's your percent of fallout from contracts you've locked up already due to any circumstances? Buyer pulls out, can't find buyer, title can't be clear, etc. Ranges between 65 and 70% contract to close ratio. So 30 and 35%. But again, that's also with a lot of experience there. One of the things that we are also, like, when we say we do deals in all 50 states, it's because we have done deals in all 50 states. Like when I go into like Lead Zolo or Speed to Lead and I go in to buy the lead, we are very specific about where we're going to purchase that lead, right? I'm not going in and being like, yeah, hot damn, Cheyenne, Wyoming, let's go, baby. But it's like, okay, there's a lead that's available. Like we just closed that deal. I mentioned Redding, California, right? Well, that buyer is amazing. In fact, I'm trying to get that buyer to give his perspective of that deal, and so we can share it on a YouTube video. So you would see me buy the lead, close with the seller, the live seller call, then Justin talk about the dispo, and then the buyer talk about it from his perspective. If I were to see a lead in Speed to Lead come in and it's in Redding, California, then I'm going to buy that lead because I know that buyer just closed that deal and he's ready to go. So that right there helps on like can't find buyer or knowing the numbers or anything like that. This is like being very specific about where I'm going to get. And that's just one example when we have many buyers and many markets just like that. So that's why being virtual and staying virtual and building those relationships with these buyers makes a huge difference and an impact on our ability. It's why we've also been able to scale the team down. Whereas like 2021 and 2022, we had a lot more people in here. There was a lot of transactions that came through the door that, I mean, quite frankly, were stressful because we did have to do a lot of those where it's like the buyer pulled out or can't find the buyer. Or we didn't know how to clear title in a certain state, right? It was, hey, there's 6 missing errors in this location. We don't have any boots on the ground and stuff like that. Those are deals that could cost us closings. Thanks, RJ. That was great info. I know if I keep following up, more deals will trickle in. I would imagine I'll be joining TU in Q2. Call reviews would be super helpful. Awesome, man. Nick, you need a scheduled call with the team. I'm just telling you. You need a scheduled call with the team. Can my partner and I do this part-time in the evenings realistically if we're able to cover the cost of all the leads, platforms, etc.? Yeah, Patrick. We have plenty of people inside of TU that have full-time jobs. You have to be realistic about the results and have expectations for that, right? I mean, you're not going to get the same results that someone would give that could dedicate 8 to 10 hours a day, but could you prove the concept? Could you go out and make a significant amount of income where we have people that make, $100,000 to $300,000 significantly part-time year over year. Like we have people that they have to maintain their W-2 for health insurance purposes or just quite frankly, because that's the career that they wanted. And they want to do this later on in their life, right? People in the military, right? They don't want to leave until their time is served. And so they're doing this part-time. They want to pick this up when they leave the military, stuff like that. They've been able to make a significant amount of income. Hey, you could do this literally just on the weekends if you wanted to. It's that easy, but there's always going to be a sacrifice that's made there, right? If you're competing against me, who's dedicated full-time to doing this and following up with my leads, and you can only do it at a certain point in time, then yeah, there's going to be sacrifices that come along with that. Also, I was the one who asked the question about why no one likes attorney states, and I watched the video you linked, and I understand I'm based in Georgia and want to start in my state. Mondo, I will say Georgia is much better than New York. New York's like one of the worst attorney states. New York, New Jersey for sure. Georgia is not quite as bad because it's also not the dual attorneys. It's just one attorney, and they more act like a title company. I would say Georgia is a great market to get started in. Georgia is a really good market. Loved your last video. Just subscribe to your channel. Appreciate it. But you didn't go in depth on when did you learn about wholesaling and how long before you actually took action and why. So, Jay, I've got multiple videos on that. Actually, I did a video at the end of last year called I Got Scammed, where I actually told the full story, how we spent $65,000 on education back in 2014, and basically just learn how to do deals off the MLS. You can go check that one out. But yeah, man, I mean, we learned in 2014, we did 4 deals from August to December off the MLS, and then we shut down our contracting business and went full-time January 1st, 2015. But yeah, I would suggest checking out the I Got Scammed video. I go into depth on that. All right, people. Love how you guys have totally transitioned to Tuesday Lives. I was talking to Nick about this earlier today when we were talking about today's topic. I was like, I feel like the topic, I could probably go for about 30 minutes, which I did. I think it was just like south of that, like 27 minutes. I said the Tuesday Lives have been awesome with the Q&A. You guys are just coming in with the questions. I love being able to just sit back and answer them. Really appreciate the atmosphere that you guys have kind of brought to the Tuesday Lives. Michael, can you still find good deals on the MLS? Can you? Yeah, absolutely. They exist. There are issues with trying to wholesale deals off the MLS. Michael Cassie just recorded a video a couple weeks ago. If you go to my channel and it says videos, you'll find a video just a couple weeks ago. Can you wholesale deals off the MLS? And it's about a 51-minute long video where she talks about the pros and cons of doing that. Was there ever a point where you thought wholesaling was a scam? No. No, I never did. I mean, obviously, you need the proof of concept. But, I mean, the way that I learned, I was in such a large collection of people that had done it. And then also I was a contractor before we got into wholesaling. So I had done the work on several flips that had been purchased from wholesalers. So I already pretty much knew that wholesaling was legit. What's our email to JV with us? It is jv@titanium.investments. Just put that in the chat. There is no .com. It's just jv@titanium.investments. It looks like the training you paid for didn't end as an excuse. No, man, it definitely did not. I'll tell you, though, it could have very easily. And I don't know why it didn't. I don't know if it's just because Cassie and I were extremely stubborn, or if I know when I found out about wholesaling that I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do in my life. And I was extremely passionate about that at the time. I knew I just wanted to get out of the contracting business. I knew that's not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I had already dedicated, 8 years of my life to Pizza Hut and working up from a delivery driver to general manager. And so it was like, I've got to change something. I've got to find something that's going to stick. And I'm glad that this ended up being it. I think it's because you didn't want to fall into mediocrity. I agree. That was for sure part of it, Matt. It was also just the opportunity that I saw to get into real estate and something that I always wanted to be a part of. I mean, I had to figure out a way to make it work. I had to. And I will also say that early on, there was probably some deals that we probably shouldn't have disposed that we did. And I look back at that and I'm like, I wish I had better training. Right? There was like next to zero, how to comp and underwrite, how to know if it's a good deal for your end buyer or anything like that. It was just literally lot deals up, and if someone takes it, then it's a good deal for them, and that's their liability. I look back at that. I wish I had better training, but finding a way to succeed no matter what was definitely, you're right. Didn't want to be in that. Didn't want to be mediocre anymore for sure. The beard is magnificent. Thank you, Patrick. Lots of work goes into the beard. Thanks for putting all the content. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. We just passed 26,000 subscribers. The goal is 100,000 by the end of the year. We've got some work. Got some work. You hear that, Nick? Got some work, man. We got to go find 74,000 more people to subscribe to the channel. But every like, every view, every comment means the world to me. And like I said at the beginning of the video, today is the 429th straight day that we brought you a video on this YouTube channel. I have zero intentions of stopping anytime soon. We already have 430 locked and loaded for you guys tomorrow. So we're just going to keep bringing this content for you. Isaiah, you showed up way too late, brother. Click all the way back so you can watch the whole thing because I'm leaving. Matt said we just had massive layoffs and it sparked a fire under me to start creating my own reality. Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. Thoughts on hiring cold callers? I just got rid of all my cold callers in December. I think that answers it. Michael, there's videos that I have about the cost comparison of cold calling and PPL. And then there's also the stop cold calling video I'd recommend you go watch. But also you paid a significant amount for that info, correct? I don't know. What info do you mean? I don't know what you mean there. Do you really personally respond to every comment? Yes. No one else has access to my YouTube channel except for me. I respond to every single comment. I post every single video. I just now got some help over here. Jordan now is editing and helping with some of the thumbnails and stuff like that. But no, brother, that's all me. So I sometimes, if you guys didn't notice, I was gone for 10 days in February. I went to Quebec. Some of the comments were lacking because I was out there doing all the stuff in Quebec that I was doing. So every single comment I respond. Nick was saying that to me today. He was like, dude, you're kind of crazy. At some point in time, we're going to get large enough where you can't respond to every comment. You can't respond to every single question inside of TU and every single post. And I told him, I said, I know the day will come, but until then, I'm going to keep going. Jordan Peterson? What about Jordan Peterson? The author? I don't have his book here. Is there another video taking place that I don't know? I don't know. Understand a couple of these comments. He did have a killer goal. Scored the Michigan, baby, and that was in a close game. That was an elimination game. That was a crazy. I still don't even know what happened during that moment. It still doesn't feel real to me. How did I create that "You Will Win" video? Helping with the comments. I got you. The "You Will Win" video. We this back office right here has no windows in it. We turned all of the lights off. We put a spotlight right above me. And then Jordan changed the settings on the camera to where you could basically only see my outline. And then I had what I was going to say written on my cell phone. And I set my cell phone right in front of me like this off to the side. And then when he turned the camera to where you could see me looking in the mirror, he just basically took black and just blacked out the cell phone. So I had written it. So I knew how I wanted to deliver it because I wrote it myself, but or read it. So that way there was no gaps in the timing and stuff like that. And no ums or likes or anything like that. And it was just one take. It was just I sat down, he hit play, and then I just delivered it, and then he nailed the turnaround, and boom, it was done. It took us about 5 minutes. I think I'm going to do another one of those. If you guys have watched the "You Will Win Today" video, let me know if you want another one of those. Let's see. JJM Management. I want to know what you were talking about. Do you still use Facebook to dispo on some deals? Very little. Like very, very, very rarely. I mean, it's almost all at this point, Isaiah, it's pretty much all just like pick the phone up and we call the buyers that we already know. RJ, it's a wholesaling game trend will be more PPL than cold calling. I know it's cold calling. It's getting obsolete with so many disconnected numbers, wrong numbers, no answer. Yeah, dude. Cold calling is gone. I mean, my personal opinion. I know there's people out there that still succeed with it, but I just don't see the point in it. The whole point in mining for cold calling is just to find people raise their hand and say they have a house that they want to sell. And I feel like it's so easy to do that with PPL nowadays. There's no reason to do it anymore. That's why I got rid of it in December. But again, I'm all about simplifying down and staying focused. That's what I was talking about in this video. Right? I mean, it took us 10 years to make the decision to get rid of the cold calling. It wasn't a quick decision. It wasn't a swift one. It was also because of the regulations that were coming down. Helps to build strong relationships with buyers. Look, I found some hungry ones recently. There you go. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you like today's video. I'm out of here. We'll go make you guys another video for Thursday. See y'all then.